in B2B marketing, our statistic we live and die by is only 7 to 9% of your current market is in market to buy right now. So that means 93% of the market you are able to reach is not going to buy in this sales cycle.
Right. So you've got to be thinking down the road.
Yep.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the VIP podcast. So excited you're here hanging out. It's at the end of the day, end of the batch, so we might have a little more fun here than normal. Who knows? I got a good friend of mine. I got a brother coming to hang out with us. So, I'm excited about that. Who knows where this will go? There may be squirrels flying everywhere, but it's going to be a good conversation. And we're here to talk a little bit about some quote and bind, talk about maybe some intake forms, just talk about ways that we can help you be more efficient and make your client experience that much better. Nick Berry, get on in here. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing fantastic. How about you?
Man, I am doing very, very well. And so
I feel like this is going to be the battle of the beards today.
it might be. He's got a way better beard than I do, though.
Right.
How long
Look
have you
at
been
that
working
beard.
on that thing?
Well, I've had this beard since 2015, and I'm getting ready to trim it way down because it's trade show season coming up, and I got less like a biker and more like a marketer.
That's hilarious. Okay, so you got to explain to me this pillow or whatever this is behind you with Nick Cage on it. What is this about?
So Nick Cage is my favorite actor. I have seen every
Legitimately?
single-
Okay.
Yeah, he is my favorite actor, and that's a scene from my brain just went dead. Con Air. It's
Con
from
Air, yeah.
Yeah. And I was just on TikTok one day, and on the TikTok shop, there was a pillowcase of the sequined Nick Cage, and so I had to buy it.
So what's your favorite Nick Cage movie then?
National Treasure, and it's also my favorite movie.
Yeah, dude, that's a good one. My wife and I watch that one from time to time because she's a history nerd, and just to see that and running around, and you got the Declaration of Independence and the whole thing. The one thing that I don't get is the dude that plays his guy, whatever that little guy is in there. Riley. You don't see him in anything else. Like, he's a good little actor. I never see him in anything else.
He's not in a bunch of stuff. But he's a bit player for the most part.
But he's good. Like, he plays that role well. And I'm like, I would like to see him in more stuff, but he's just not. So I would have never put you for a Nick Cage guy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I want to say that there's a lot of debate around. I have a feeling that you are a Nick Cage believer, like he is the best actor type thing. Is that your opinion of him? Best actor ever?
Him and Pedro Pascal, which they have that one movie together that is just amazing.
So I was a Face Off guy. Did you like Face Off?
Yeah, Face Off was an amazing movie.
Oh, I liked that one. And then, did you see? I never saw it, but I've been wanting to see it. The Nick Cage, it's almost like an autobiography type of movie about him that just came out recently, like something about being Nick Cage or who is Nick Cage.
That was the movie with Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see that one, but
Yeah,
it's kind of like making fun of him a little bit, isn't it? Not, or is it kind of like a satire a little bit? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
I have not seen that one yet, but I kind of been wanting just because it seems like it does. I've never met anybody that said that Nick Cage was their guy. That's pretty cool. Okay. Awesome. All right. So I brought you in today because obviously you guys being an Orange partner, and we love you guys over at Canopy Connect. But you guys have figured it out, it feels like, when it comes to helping with the client experience and with the user experience when it comes to things like quote and bind or collecting data, getting the information in the door. And I know I can't say you're new there anymore. You've been there quite a while now, it feels like. But, coming in from that, you already knew about it and you knew Tolga and some of them, but being there on the inside, what's that meant to you? What has that seen to you? And how real is that? I know Tolga well as a friend. It's such a real thing. It feels like authentic.
And I just had this conversation with our head of revenue this morning. When I saw Canopy Connect the first time, when I got the demo of it, I literally said agents would be stupid not to sign up for this.
I would agree.
I saw it because I was another CRM at the time. And the struggle we saw was that intake thing. Agents could not get people to fill out their intake forms or, get on a phone call and answer those questions. And I was like, this solves, and it gives the agent so much data to be able to do their job better that it is, as a marketer, I was like, there's so many ways you could do this and improve your segmentation and your CRMs that I wish I could get people to see.
Yeah, talk to you. That's a good, interesting part. I'd love to bring in, obviously Agency Zoom being our, our flagship CRM and our go-to product. That's like our sexiest product right now that I just love talking about. Can I say sexy on it? I just did. So, but to have that and then to be able to integrate there and like you said, to be able to segmentate. I don't even know if I'm saying my words right. End of the day. But when you put those into those segments and whatnot, tell me a little bit more about that and how you can do that using Canopy Connect and what you're seeing other agents doing that.
Yeah. So when you're getting this information, it's coming straight from the carrier.
Right?
You don't have to. The client doesn't have to remember it, so it's truthful data. It's a source of truth, right? And you can go, okay, we're going to put this person into this list because of their policy, their current premium, their current policy coverage,
Yeah.
those kind of things, and then go from there. So when somebody comes in and they fill that out, you can go, okay, and then you can make sure you can write emails that speak to that specific group of prospects.
So you seeing more agencies segmentating? I feel like that's not the right word, but segmenting. That's the word. Are they segmenting based, you think, on premium volume there, or is it more like, okay, this is this $1 million home, or this is like the size of the home? Because again, $1 million home in Arkansas is different than $1 million home in Iowa and different in Denver. How are you seeing that segmentation? Segmentation, there it is.
Yeah, so it depends on the agency and what they're doing. Yeah, so $1 million house in Gulf Shores, Alabama, is going to be different than a $1 million house in Birmingham, Alabama.
100%.
Totally, like it's going to be a shack on the beach in Gulf Shores.
Right.
Or it's
But
a
in
mansion
Arkansas,
up north.
that's like, a 10,000 square foot home, and so it's totally different. Yeah, it's a mansion in Arkansas.
So it depends on what their needs are. But those are the things that I saw the first time I saw it was like, why aren't they using this to get this information?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And so as again, if we're talking through Zoom or whatnot, and then as you get that, I know you've had some good opportunities to work with CRMs throughout your years there and building out sales systems and whatnot. And you suggest putting in, as from a marketing standpoint, different funnels to go through that. Once they come in from the Canopy, you see those deck pages. Are you putting them in a separate funnel than someone else that may only have just the auto and the home? But if you got someone with the auto, home, and this, and this, or this size home versus that size home, how are they able to come in and integrate that into Zoom? And what are you seeing best practices with agencies using Canopy?
So it's going to be a little technical to get that done.
Okay.
It can be done, but
Right.
there's some technical things you're going to have to do in the in between. That's
Sure.
platform issues.
But so some of the, again, you're saying you got the truthful data there. Like some of the things that I never saw when I first saw it, several years back, and I go back to even before it was even a product yet. It was, he was talking to me about not only will you get the deck pages, but on those deck pages you have driver's lists, and you've got, the vehicle list. You've got all those things. You don't have to sit there and ask them VIN numbers and have to try to, remember what your handwriting. I remember back in the day, I couldn't read my handwriting. I'm like, is that a this or that, or is that I don't know what I'm writing, a 5 or an S, or I don't know what that is. So, you got all that kind of stuff, and people can use that information in so many different ways. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I was just pulling up the dashboard so I can speak from
Go
what's
for it.
available.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah, if
with
I'm
you.
looking at somebody and I want to send over their current policy data, I have what their current premium is, what their construction type is, what their roof type is, the stuff that's there collected from the carrier, and then I can push it to my CRM, I can push it to a spreadsheet, I can push it to wherever. And then you build the segmentation there.
Yeah, and when you start talking about, also, I know you guys integrate with the PL rating and being able to do some of those things. And again, right now at Vertafore, we're doing a lot of conversations around, rating and quote and bind and how to make that more efficient and whatnot. And so again, to be able to have that information, I would imagine from what you're hearing from agents, has got to be a game changer to be able to say, I don't have to chase this information down anymore. I've got it right here with a click of a button.
Yep.
And so putting that from there to PL rating or PL rater or even commercial, because you guys are getting commercial stuff too. You can put in our commercial submissions. What are you hearing from users? Like, are you hearing some information back and forth from that, or is your team being able to, say, hey, this is...
It's one of those things. It's kind of like everything else with the market. It really depends on the carrier. If it's the commercial market's difficult, primarily because so much of it is non-standard and it's brokered or MGA'd. And if there's no place for the consumer to log in, it's tough. There's no place for us to send, to gather
Right.
data
Right.
from.
Right. Right. Right.
So the commercial side of it, it's getting better. Every month we add new carriers, all that stuff. So we like we say on like our marketing, front end marketing, we say that we have like 98% of the home and auto market.
Yeah.
I don't know what the specific market is on the commercial, but it's always getting better. Like I said, the commercial market's it's tough because of the state of the industry.
And here's the beautiful thing that I love about Canopy Connect and about raters in general. When people say, "Oh, the raters aren't accurate," and I don't use a rater because of this reason or that, but for no other reason alone than to have the data collected and to have that information right there. First of all, it's not duplicate entry, so you get to put it in one time and you've got it with all your carriers. But people have that data. Even if you don't write it this year, it's in your CRM forever.
Oh yeah, I have been beating that drum for 2.5 years. That we literally had it happen. Somebody came in January of last year, came into our system, booked a demo, didn't show up the demo. They've been getting our newsletters for
Yeah.
a year, opening the email, and because I can in our CRM I can go in and look. They've been opening our emails, and then Thursday they got the email and they booked a demo.
Yeah.
I see it, and I see it in agents when I talk to agents and I help them with their marketing, or I go, "Hey, this is what you should be doing," and they'll be like, "Oh my God, I started sending emails every week, and people started buying from me."
100%. And that's the thing of like, people just think, "Oh, I use a rater just to get the quote and buy now."
Yeah,
But when you start thinking long term in that and say, "Okay, yeah, you may not have gotten it now,
hmm
but you could always put that into a pipeline, send them out emails, a drip campaign, or whatever it might be for the next, whether it's every other month, every week, hammer with all the emails you want to. Eventually, one day, like you said, they may just open that email that way. Oh, okay, I need to do this now.
and
Or they
if
may have a
you,
frustration.
well, it's funny because I have spent most of my career in business to business sales,
Yeah.
and so when I look at insurance sales, I look at homeowners and auto is B2C. It's business to consumer sales. And it's a different beast than B2B, which is your commercial sales.
Mm-hmm.
In B2B marketing, our statistic we live and die by is only 7 to 9% of your current market is in market to buy right now. So that means 93% of the market you are able to reach is not going to buy in this sales cycle.
Right. So you've got to be thinking down the road.
Yep. So yeah, if you're like, yeah, get the quote, start the AOR, BOR, whatever you're gonna do, and get it in, and then yeah, follow up with them, email them, call them, period. Don't be obnoxious, but follow up, and you'll get the sale eventually.
Well, the other thing is, again, going back to all that data you're collecting,
Yeah.
another drum I've been beating, can you say it that way? Drum, whatever, is you collect all the information. You could sit down now across the table from your carrier reps that come in every month or every week or every other month, and people have a legitimate conversation with them and say, "Hey, we quoted you this many times. These are the deck pages we collected. We've done all this. This is why you didn't win this, because of this. And we noticed with this style home, with this, age of roof, with these types of drivers, you're not competitive. When we're here, we are." Instead of just having them dictate to you of like, "Well, you quoted us 47 times. We didn't write any. We're going to cancel your contract." Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's have this conversation legitimately to say, here's the data we actually have that we could share with you because of the PL Rater, because of Canopy Connect, because of commercial submissions.
Yep.
And that's the drum. I don't know if you say that right, but that's something that's a soapbox of mine. I'm like, I don't care if you're using it just for the immediate gratification of right now. I think you're missing a huge play there with any of those, products we just talked about.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can get reliable data,
Yeah.
you should be using it, storing it, and applying it to your entire business.
So as you talk with agencies, and you're working with, whether it's on their marketing or working with them through Canopy Connect or all the different levels, you've been in this industry a while now. As you're walking through like just the onboarding experience or the intake experience for whether it's from the client side or the user side, What are some of the tips and the strategies that you kind of tell people to help them to make that process more efficient or more simple for the client?
Make it as easy as possible for the client and your team that you can. That's it. And just anecdotally, my wife and I had to change carriers last year. The carrier we were with left the personal lines market. So that also meant we had to change agents, because the agent we had, that was their only admitted carrier in the state that they could work with, that was competitive for us. So we ended up changing agencies too. It was such a hassle. I was like, and I was at Canopy Connect. I'm like, can I just give them a free account so I don't have to do this?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
I don't want to have a 40-minute conversation reading. I was like, can I just email you my deck page? And they were like, no, sorry, this is the way we do it.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm just reading my deck. I'll email it to you. I used my Canopy link on myself and got my own deck page.
Right.
That's funny.
Well, then you could, again, the conversation is 40 minutes of the back and forth of what's your VIN number, what's your address, it could be a lot better conversation of, hey, how are the kids? How was the ball game? How did Lucy do in her ballet, whatever it might be.
Yep.
It's a different conversation.
I remember the first time, and I was spreading the gospel of Canopy Connect.
Yeah.
Back then, when first time I saw it, and agents would be like, well, that's not the feedback I would get. Well, I can't build rapport. I'm like, asking me my VIN number isn't building rapport.
100%.
Finding out that I'm an R2D2 nerd,
Right.
or I like Nick Cage, that's building rapport.
Yep.
Not asking insurance questions.
I completely agree. And I've known you for quite a while now, and I still didn't know that you were a Nick Cage fan. I always thought that was just an ironic pillow back there, but now that I know, we wouldn't have had that conversation if I was sitting there having to say, what's your zip code? What's your address? What's the age of your roof? What's your protection? All those kind of things. That would not be a way for me to build rapport with you. But now that I know you're a Nick Cage fan, and every time I see a GIF with him on it, or I, see a movie or something coming out, now I can talk to you about Nick Cage or R2D2 for that matter.
Yep.
And that's the building rapport that they need to be doing, not asking those kind of questions. And when you can have all that information from Canopy, and you can just put that right into your rater, right into whatever you're doing, saving that time as well, instead of having to log into 5 different carriers, try to get a quote, doing all those things. I mean, again, making it easier on everybody.
My first name is spelled weird.
Okay.
Every time I talk to somebody on the phone and they ask me for my legal first name, I tell them how to spell it right, and they still spell it wrong.
Really? Now I'm interested how you spell your name.
Nicholos.
Oh. Yeah, that is different.
Yeah.
What's the origin on that?
My dad, just all of us kids have, or at least one part of our name is spelled weird.
Okay. He's just
It's
just putting you through hell.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
That's funny. You're just different.
So,
Yeah.
but like that same thing, like, so when I talk to an insurance agent and I'll be like, and I get mad about it because I know that I tell people,
Sure.
and they'll be like, and I'll reply to email, change it. It's because it's my legal name.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a legal document. It's got to be correct and accurate.
Well, then
And
Barry
so-
spelled Berry, that's different too. A lot of people want to spell it Barry probably, or Barie or something. I don't know.
So that user experience of making sure information is accurate,
Yep.
and then like the client, even the team experience. I mean, imagine your team doesn't have to do 40-minute intake calls.
100%. If you could have more calls in a day, that are more relevant calls than having to sit there and do all that.
Yeah.
And again, you may not even get it, but now if you can get that information and have someone in a pipeline for years to come, your money.
We've got a couple agencies who have told us if you won't use their Canopy link, they won't do business with you at this point.
I heard that earlier today, actually.
Yeah.
So,
And
I got a question for you guys. Being a demand gen guy, like, what are some of the things that Canopy's doing right now to kind of, because I know this is a constant education, but from a marketing standpoint, like, how are you educating your clients, and what are some of the challenges you're facing in that realm of, like, how do we tell everybody that this is a good thing?
Oh, that's my entire life. So we have multiple stages of where we do marketing and our paid spend. First of all, we have an amazing content manager. She puts out all the like this podcast. It wouldn't be even possible. The podcast that we've been doing, it wouldn't be possible without her. But
Yeah.
we have her writing and editing video and doing all this content work that she distributes, and then we actually use that content as part of our paid media strategy. When you're top of funnel, you're getting this. We're teaching agents not just Canopy Connect, but how to generate leads, how to do, like the contest video that we're doing with CJ, that kind of stuff. Raising those, okay, because we know the main pain for an insurance agency isn't necessarily it's data intake, but it's also lead generation. And so if we can teach them how to generate more leads through our content, they'll come to us when they're ready for the intake stuff. So that's our main thing, is education that way. And then, just raising awareness. Thankfully, Canopy has a very, very strong brand. So it's not very hard for people to go, oh, I already heard of that.
Yep. And then, are you guys, have you thought about, or maybe you already are, putting out information or putting out some marketing material that they could in turn use to educate their clients, like for the agent to go to the B2C or the B2B, whatever. I can't do the C's and the B's and the A's, the alphabet part. But do you have anything for them to be able to say, I tried to get this, my client to use this or my prospect to use it, but they didn't understand it. Do you have any material like that you're putting out?
Yeah, we do that as part of their onboarding. We
Okay,
give
good.
them, we give them talk tracks, we give them scripts, we give them email
Good call.
templates, we give them. I just built out. We just did an entire article on how to implement Canopy Connect into your agency Zoom automations.
Awesome. Love that. Yeah.
Yep.
You can say that 16 more times on this podcast. I love that. No, that's fantastic. So, I just, again, I don't want to have to wrap up too early because you and I could geek out forever on stuff, but I did just want to give the audience a quick little podcast about some of the things you guys do and what you're seeing. Is there anything, obviously we've gotten into most of it already, but is there anything that you could leave them with, like any last minute thing that you would like to say, like, here's what I'm seeing agents that are doing that are, really making a difference right now in this market?
Yep. So the agents I'm seeing having the most success with Canopy Connect or anything in general is what they're doing is they're not just blasting out the link. What they're doing is going and embedding their Canopy Connect form into their website, putting some context around it. So like, hey, here's we need to get this information to give you the most accurate quote.
Mm-hmm.
It's secure. We're never going to see your credentials, just like we reiterate in the app. And then what we're going to do with this information on beneath it. The agents who do that, they have way more because the Canopy Connect app works really, really well. You can send a link out all day long, but a lot of users have come from a corporate environment where they're like, hey, what's this weird link? That's not the link that I found. That's not your website.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of hesitancy there. So then when you go, okay, well, I'm going to send you a link to my website where it's embedded.
Yeah. And
And
then,
give the code and everything. You literally just copy and paste it into any website provider.
well, then you could change the color scheme and make it look like it's part of your website. And so,
Well, yeah, that's the cool thing about that. You can go edit your Canopy links and put your logo on it and do all those things. Those are the ones who are having the most successful polls. Is they're giving the context, and then they're not just like, and then they follow up. I've been in the sales game for 23 years.
we're getting old, buddy. Yeah.
When I got into sales. I am not a closer. I couldn't close a screen door when it comes to sales. I won through persistence.
Yeah. That's
And that's
hilarious.
it. Like if you get a lead in, follow up with them right away.
Yeah.
Lead velocity is a real thing.
Yeah.
And then hit them up and then make sure that, and then communicate. Like the other thing is communicate where the prospect wants to be communicated with.
100%.
If they came in via email them. If they came in via text them. If they called you, call them back. And, set those. I even tell people, ask what their communication preference is. On your lead intake, you can say, hey, what's the best way for us to communicate your quote to you?
Right. And that was something I was talking to Chad about earlier. I was like, even within our own company sometimes, and any company we try to deal with, like some people love Teams, some people love to be communicated with email, some people love text. I'm a text guy. Text me or you won't get me. Or some people like to be called. Like, don't call me. I get so many spam calls. I'm going to hit, unless you're programmed in, I'm not going to answer. So yeah, I think that's a strong point to make there. Like, communicate with them the way they want to be communicated with. And again, you could text the link, you could email the link, you could embed it on your website. I mean, you could do all the things with that. And so No, I love that. That's good advice. And I appreciate you joining us and hanging out with us today and being a part of just being a part of the Orange Partner Program, being a part of my life, being a friend of Vertafore. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and your team. Like, you guys really do care about the agent. You know, every time I talk to, whether it's you or Ray or Tolga or Casey, anybody, it's like, we want to do what's best for the agent. I don't say that just building, you up or building your head up. It's real. Like, Ray loves agents. Like, you guys just love it. It's just crazy to me. So I appreciate that.
We just hired a new customer success manager, and her only job is onboarding new agents. Like, that's her legit. Like, her job her success metric is getting people set up using Canopy Connect.
Right.
How many software companies do you hear that doing that?
You don't.
They're like, here's your login. See you later.
Yeah, good luck. Go get them, Tiger. So yeah,
and
that's fantastic.
Canopy's always been real adamant about that, but like, it was always we got to a point where, like, I think we can just improve everybody's experience if we just made sure everybody got onboarded.
Yeah.
One-to-one.
And that'll preach with agents too. If you had someone in your agency right now, that was their job, was to help, that kind of process and help them to go through the customer journey that much better. And that's huge. That would preach across all kind of levels. Same things with MGAs and carriers too. Again, I don't want to open up a whole other conversation because we'll be here another hour. But, bro, I appreciate you. Audience, thank you, VIP, for being here. We do this show because of you, the VIP. We want to make sure that you have a good experience. We want you to enjoy the content we put out, and I hope this one, I know it did, but I hope this one really hit you the way it did me. Maybe you can pronounce these words better than me as well when you get off of this call or this podcast.
Segmentation.
Yes, it's hard to say. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one.